Hey everybody, my name's Mike McNamara. This is Screen Magazine. It's baseball season, playoffs, World Series. What better time than now for you to check out No, a documentary all about the life and times of Doc Ellis. Best known for pitching a no-hitter under the influence of LSD, but his life was much, much more than that, and this wonderful documentary chronicles all of it. I bumped into the director, Jeffrey Radice, out at Sundance last year. The film is finally out on VOD, so I wanted to give you guys a quick look at this interview that I had with Jeffrey, and be sure to check out No. Jeffrey Radice, welcome to Screen.
Thank you, Mike.
Absolutely, my friend. Well, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad we bumped into each other here at Sundance. Give us a little bit of an intro to No and to Doc Ellis.
Well, so No is my attempt to retrieve Doc Ellis's legacy from just the LSD and paint a much broader portrait of the man as, a civil rights leader within the sports establishment and as a drug counselor, which was what he did for, the latter 2-3 decades of his life. Yeah. I feel like he came most into himself as a human being as a drug counselor working with youth, and so I wanted to establish who he was as a human being and paint a portrait of the man while also going into explaining why we know that the LSD no-hitter took place, and trying to investigate a little bit.
So we still get kind of our baseball fix with the whole LSD no-hitter that's just so, that's famous, that we all know about. But then you kind of brought us really into the heart of Doc Ellis and this baseball team. This baseball team that he was on in those Pittsburgh days was incredible and had its place in history. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what made it so special?
Yeah, absolutely, Mike. I tried to make a movie that I tried to walk this tightrope where it was a movie that both baseball fans would love and non-baseball fans. I fell in love with the early 70s Pirates, the 1971 Pirates team that won the World Series with Roberto Clemente and Willie Stargell, Doc Ellis, Steve Blass, Manny Sanguin. That was a team that loved each other, and I just, I wanted to capture some of the essence of that. I wanted to capture the psychology of pitching, what it took to be a dominant pitcher in those years.
Also, the drug usage back then was much less regulated and almost much more the norm than the exception, and also with much less press those days, which I think we forget about. It was a little looser back in those days.
I don't think it was less regulated. I think that the baseball establishment, just turned a blind eye. Scipio Spinks.
So it was less regulated.
Scipio Spinks, who pitched for St. Louis and was a contemporary of Doc, said, Doc said 90% of major leaguers were taking greenies, and Scipio said 95, 96%.
It's a great moment in the film.
Yeah, they were all taking greenies, with a few exceptions. Jim Sundberg probably being one of them. Doc's catcher with Texas. It was an interesting era in baseball. I think in America, the baseball players, it was pre-free agency, so these guys were still working jobs in the off season. They were more about being themselves and less about being a brand.
And it kept the team together. Without that free agency, these players were actually able to build a team and build that family, like those 71 Pirates that these days you don't know where you're going to be the next year.
And that era ended right around 1979 with the Pirates again, with the We Are Family team that Doc ended his career with the Pirates. And that was, Willie Stargell's team basically then, and Dave Parker, and just a dominant team.
Cool. Guys, we were talking with director Jeffrey Radice about his documentary, No, which is going to be heading your way very soon, a little bit later this year. So I've only got another minute or two left with you. Tell me about yourself as a baseball fan and what led you to this doc.
I started out when I was No, it's all right.
Okay.
I started out when I was a kid, 8, 9, 10 years old, as a huge baseball fan.
Yeah.
New York Yankees, WPIX, Phil Rizzuto. And then, when I got into my I played Little League, Senior League. When I got into my teenage years, I kind of lost interest. And as I got older, I didn't pay. I always kept kind of the corner of my eye. But my love for baseball was really rekindled by making this movie with the Pittsburgh Pirates teams, and now I'm playing on an adult Sandlot team.
Fast pitch or like 12-inch?
Not fast pitch, but it's adult Sandlot team, so a fast pitch there is about 75 miles an hour.
Dude, 75-mile-an-hour pitch is still pretty damn hard to hit.
You know what's the greatest feeling in the world is when you connect the bat and you get a single.
And you did right. And you just said it.
Richard Linklater, who was very supportive of the film,
cool.
Big baseball fan. He tells the story that he hit a stand-up double off of Roger Clemens in high school. And you can look at a lot of Richard Linklater films. I mean, The Bad News Bears, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that Dazed and Confused is actually a baseball film. People don't know that Linklater fought the studio to keep those baseball scenes in Dazed and Confused.
I love it. Hey, last thing, what do you want people to take away from No No?
I want people to take away that Doc was so much more of a human being. He changed people's lives. The LSD no-hitter came about because he was coming clean with his 12 steps about all the wrongs that he did. He felt some regret for that game, but he impacted all these other humans' lives, and everyone that got a chance to know him loved him, and that's what I want people to understand.
Jeffrey, thank you so much for hanging out with Screen today.
You're welcome, Mike.
Guys, that was director Jeffrey Radice talking about his baseball and life documentary, No No, heading to theaters and VOD and all that good stuff your way very soon. My name's Mike McNamara. Thanks for stopping by Screen. I'll talk with you again soon.